Assalamu alaikum. Sisters and brothers, I'm Malik Hodge, and this is We Reflect the Light. This is where we look at current events that are taking place in the world today through the lens of the unsealed scriptures of the Bible that gives us detailed information on what is taking place in the world today and what is going to take place in the near future from the unsealed scriptures of the Bible. Sisters and brothers, we are at war. Sisters and brothers, today we're going to be looking at what's taking place right now in the Middle East, which is heaven. And we're going to be given in detail what is the outcome of the war, where we are at in the war in heaven, which is the war in the Middle East. And we're going to give in detail how the war is going to affect the world, but how in detail it's going to affect the original black man and woman here in America. Now, sisters and brothers, the war in heaven is the war that the world is witnessing right now in the Middle East. Sisters and brothers, this war we're witnessing has been prophesied of. This war that we're witnessing is directly connected to us, the original black man and woman here in America. Sisters and brothers, this war has to be understood by the original black man and woman to understand what is taking place right now in the world. Exactly what's happening and how it's going to affect the original black man and woman here in America. Now, sisters and brothers, this war that in scripture is titled the war in heaven. And scripture refers to it to the war in Revelations chapter 12, verse 7 through 9, and occurred war in the heaven. The Michael and the angels of him other to war with the dragon, and the dragon warred and the angels of it. And now they proved strong, not but place was found of them yet in the heaven. And was thrown the dragon the great, the serpent the archaic, the being called devil and the Satan, the making to err, the being inhabited whole. He was thrown into the earth, and the angels of him with him were thrown. Sisters and brothers, first of all, we must understand where heaven is. Heaven is a place on the earth and is given in detail where heaven is. Sisters and brothers, we look, not we, but our people look to heaven and has been told by our enemies that heaven has to be acquired after death in a place out of this world. However, not one of you has heard back from this so-called heaven. But you all think, suspect, believe in this place that you cannot prove exists at all. No one can. Not that heaven. But when heaven is spoken on in scripture, and when you connect the scriptures to find out exactly where heaven is, sisters and brothers, the Middle East throughout the Middle East, in that region of the world, the world, the nations refer to it as the Holy Land. The most, they say, has the most religious or spiritual, well, let me say it like this. The connections to the scriptures, to the prophets, to Abraham, to Moses, takes us to the Kaaba, the However, it takes us and shares with us that these are the most pronounced places of or in connection with Allah, God, or the land of the prophets, the land of God. So it gives you consistent collective information on a geographical landmass that speaks to the word heaven. Now, it occurred war in heaven. Sisters and brothers, we have to understand and get your mind out of the ether or air or out of what you want to call it, out of the make-believe. And put yourself in reality. We have been separating reality for make-believe. Sisters and brothers, we have been given by our enemies a place to want to go, a place to want to be. That is out of this world. So that we will not desire heaven on earth or in reality. We will submit and wait and submit and wait to see a heaven after we're dead and gone. Sisters and brothers, we have got to get to reality. All this thinking something exists outside of self, outside of reality, has to stop. And it has to stop now. Sisters and brothers, there's no way that you could witness or even know a war was taking place in heaven. In the thinking that you have been given by your enemies. There's no way. Nothing you can do. There's nothing that you can use to come up and understand, have any understand to say, well, it's a war taking place in heaven, you would not know. Thinking that it's somewhere outside of this world and outside of outside of reality. So we've been made to equate everything outside of reality. Sisters and brothers, heaven is in the Middle East. Now, a war occurred in heaven. This is the war that we're witnessing right now, the war between Iran and Master Farah Muhammad, who hasn't showed him his hand as of yet. However, sisters and brothers, this scripture that we just read states an occurred war in heaven. Michael is Master Farah Muhammad, and his angels are Iran and Syria. Now, Iran is at war. Michael and his angels, let's say it like this, is at war with the dragon and the angels of the dragon. Now, the dragon, sisters and brothers, is the house of Saudi Arabia. And the angels of the dragon are Britain, America, and false Israel. Sisters and brothers, Iran, as we speak, are at war with who? The house of Saudi Arabia, Britain, America, and false Israel. These are the four nations that entered into the war after Iran was attacked on February the 28th by false Israel and America. Now, sisters and brothers, what's taking place right now? Donald Trump has returned from, excuse me, a 3-day trip from China. Sisters and brothers, Iran has retained its hard lines on the Strait of Hormuz and its nuclear posture of its nuclear program. States that they refuse to dismantle or get rid of their nuclear um, centrifuges, and also threatens to increase their 60% nuclear centrifuges or nuclear, I can't think of the word that for it right now, to 90% grade, which would make their 60% nuclear material will be 90%, and it will make their nuclear material capable to from 90 to 95% as they share. And that will make the material nuclear bomb. It will give them nuclear capabilities in the centrifuges. So that they will press on to accomplishing nuclear capabilities. However, sisters and brothers, what we are witnessing right now is the most, I want to say, the situation is combustible. The pressure on Donald Trump and his regime, which they call the Epstein regime, is up under severe pressure. Iran we're not gonna go there. Let's do it like this. We're witnessing the highest numbers on gas prices throughout America. And the gas prices are continuing to climb. Food prices are continuing to climb. Sisters and brothers, what is about to hit America and how it is going to drastically affect the original black man and woman should bring you to attention. The war that we're witnessing, the fallout of this war is going to affect and is affecting nations throughout the world. This war in heaven is going to bring an economic collapse on the world economy. Sisters and brothers, the alarms should be sounding in your head to prepare, to think on how this is going to affect the original black man and woman. What is this going to do to your reality? Where is this going to take your reality to? Sisters and brothers, what we're witnessing, America is going to America is going to try again to attack Iran as well as false Israel. This attack is going to take place any day now, sisters and brothers. Any day. this attack that is coming is going to trigger the collapse of the world economy, and is going to cause or trigger what the world is called, calls World War III. Sisters and brothers, America, as the scripture states, will be thrown out of heaven, will be thrown out of the Middle East. Details in scripture, thrown out of heaven. Where is America at in the Middle East? They're in heaven. They have military bases in heaven. They have occupied land in heaven. And America, who is, from the scripture states, who is who? The devil and the Satan. The serpent, the archaic. They're being thrown out of heaven. Sisters and brothers, America is about to find themselves totally thrown out of the Middle East. Sisters and brothers, Britain is about to be thrown out of the Middle East. These are occupiers of heaven. Saudi Arabia, the House of Saud, who has put their title or label on Arabia, is going to be thrown out of the Middle East. Sisters and brothers, false Israel, who is an abomination, who is causing destruction, desolation throughout the Middle East, is about to be thrown. It says, but false Israel is going to be sieged and destroyed in the face of the world. Sisters and brothers, these are the so-called rulers of this reality. The superpowers of this world. that claim that they have all this power, all the planes and all this large navy and all these apparatuses, these military apparatuses that they can spring out on nations, have found themselves against a country that is small, but let's say it like this. Not small, not small. That is not a country that is not in no way considered to the world as to being a what's the word? Considered of being a superior nation of the world. They're not considered as they're not a nuclear state. They're not considered as a Japan or China or North Korea or Russia. Countries that have a heavy influence on the world. However, all of these so-called countries and all that they possess, none of them has found themselves or wanted to or went against America, who is a world power. Britain, who is a world power. False Israel, who is a nuclear power, who is a considered this it's a world power. They have world influence. They influence the whole world. However, sisters and brothers, Iran is at war with all three of the so-called world powers, as well as the dragon or Saudi Arabia. Sisters and brothers, the scriptures, the unsealed scriptures of the Bible shares with us and has been given to us in detail from the messenger of the covenant, and we're witnessing the details that has been given far in advance manifest right in your midst, or right in your face, in your eyes, right before your eyes. To be seen by the world. However, sisters and brothers, the message is a detailed message for you, for the original black man and woman to understand what is taking place and why. What is going on, what the outcome will be, so that you or we can prepare for what is occurring. Sisters and brothers, any hesitation at this time can cost you dearly. From not being prepared for $10 gas. From not being prepared for what that $10 gas is going to make, the food prices, the energy prices. For not being prepared for the backlash of what you're witnessing. Sisters and brothers, for not being prepared for a world collapse of the economy. Sisters and brothers, what does that mean? What does that look like? Sisters and brothers, This is just a just a hint of what you can expect. We're going to watch a clip and give you just a hint. However, sisters and brothers, how would $10 gas affect your pocket? Affect your families and higher? How is that going to transfer into food prices? It's the reality of what this war and what is about to take place in real time, in reality. Sisters and brothers, being considered, being thought on. Let's take a look at this clip that just gives us a small comprehensive understanding of a small comprehension of what is coming.
Talk to Black America right now because nobody is breaking this down for us. There is a war happening in the Middle East. Bombs are falling on Iran across 24 provinces. The Strait of Hormuz, the waterway where 20% of the world's oil passes through every single day, has been shut down. Oil tankers are sitting still. Supply chains are freezing. And I need you to understand what that means for your life. Not in some abstract, geopolitical way. I mean your gas tank, your grocery bill, your rent, your job. Because every single time America starts to run there is a chain reaction that hits them. Oil prices spike, gas. 24 provinces, the Strait of Hormuz, the waterway. I need to talk to Black America right now because nobody is breaking this down for us. There is a war happening in the Middle East. Bombs are falling on Iran across 24 provinces. The Strait of Hormuz, the waterway where 20% of the world's oil passes through every single day, has been shut down. Oil tankers are sitting still. Supply chains are freezing. And I need you to understand what that means for your life.
Excuse me, sisters and brothers. Having a small technical difficulties, however, we're gonna
Not in some abstract
get is situated.
I need to talk to Black America right now because nobody is breaking this down for us. There is a war happening in the Middle East. Bombs are falling on Iran across 24 provinces. The Strait of Hormuz, the waterway where 20% of the world's oil passes through every single day, has been shut down. Oil tankers are sitting still. Supply chains are freezing. And I need you to understand what that means for your life. Not in some abstract geopolitical way. I mean your gas tank, your grocery bill, your rent, your job. Because every single time America starts a war in the Middle East, there is a chain reaction that hits home. Oil prices spike, gas goes up. When gas goes up, everything goes up. Because everything in this country is moved by trucks that run on fuel. Food gets more expensive. Shipping gets more expensive. Heating your home gets more expensive. Companies start cutting costs. And when companies cut costs, the first people who lose their jobs, the first neighborhoods that lose services, the first communities that slip into crisis are Black communities, every single time. This isn't theory. It happened after the Gulf War. It happened after Iraq. It happened after Libya. And what's happening right now in Iran is bigger than all of those combined. If you're new here, this is Black Culture Unlocked. Subscribe and hit the bell. Because this is the video the news should be showing right now, but won't.
What's the number one cause of heart attacks? Is it high?
Excuse me.
Explain why this particular war is more dangerous to your wallet than any war America has fought in decades. The Strait of Hormuz is a narrow waterway between Iran and Oman. It is only 21 miles wide at its narrowest point, and roughly 20% of all the oil consumed on Earth passes through it every single day. That is about 21 million barrels of oil every day, moving through a choke point narrower than the distance from one side of Manhattan to the other. When Operation Epic Fury launched on February 28, 2026, the United States and Israel struck Iran across 24 of its 31 provinces. Iran's navy was targeted directly, and 11 vessels were sunk in the Gulf of Oman in a matter of days. The naval headquarters in Bandar Abbas, which sits directly on the strait, was engulfed in flames. Iran responded by effectively closing the Strait of Hormuz. Commercial tanker traffic has stalled. Insurance companies are refusing to cover ships passing through the area. Oil that was flowing freely 2 weeks ago is now sitting in ports with nowhere to go. The last time the Strait of Hormuz was even threatened with closure, not actually closed, oil prices jumped 15% in a single week. This time, it is not a threat. The waterway is functionally shut down. And every barrel of oil that cannot get through that strait is a barrel that drives prices higher for everyone, and especially for people who were already stretched thin before this started. Here's how this hits you directly. When oil prices spike, gas prices follow within days, not weeks, days. Gas stations adjust their prices based on the wholesale cost of fuel, and that wholesale cost is tied directly to global oil markets. The Strait of Hormuz shutting down is the single most disruptive event that can happen to oil supply on Earth. We saw it after Iraq in 2003. Gas prices rose nearly 50% between 2003 and 2008. We saw it after Libya in 2011. Gas hit $4 a gallon nationally, and in some cities it crossed $5 a gallon. We saw it after Russia invaded Ukraine in 2022. Gas spiked to over $5 a gallon nationally, the highest in American history at the time. But here's the part that hits Black communities specifically. When gas goes up, everything goes up. The price of food in the United States is directly tied to transportation costs. Over 70% of all freight in the United States moves by truck. Those trucks run on diesel. When diesel prices spike, the cost of getting food from farms to warehouses to grocery stores goes up, and that cost gets passed directly to you at the register. In 2022, when gas hit its peak after the Ukraine crisis, the fastest increase in 40 years, studies consistently show that food price inflation hits Black households harder because Black families spend a higher percentage of their income on food and essentials than white families. When you are already spending 30 to 35% of your income just to eat and keep the lights on, a 10% price increase is not an inconvenience. It is a crisis. This is the conversation nobody is having on the news. If you know someone who needs to hear this, share this video right now. Like and subscribe. Let's keep going. Every major Middle East conflict in the last 50 years has been followed by an economic downturn in the United States. Every one. The 1973 oil embargo, triggered by conflict in the Middle East, caused a recession that lasted until 1975. Unemployment hit 9%. Inflation reached double digits. The 1979 Iranian Revolution and the war between Iran and Iraq that followed caused oil prices to double. The United States entered a deep recession in 1980 that lasted 2 years. Unemployment peaked at nearly 11%. The 1990 Gulf War caused an oil price shock that contributed to the recession from 1990 to 1991. The 2003 invasion of Iraq helped fuel the conditions through deficit spending and economic instability that led to the financial crisis from 2007 to 2008. And here's the pattern within the pattern. In every single one of those recessions, Black unemployment was roughly double white unemployment. Every time. That's not a coincidence. It's structural. Black workers are disproportionately in industries that get hit first during economic downturns, including the service sector, retail, hospitality, and transportation. When companies start laying people off, they start at the bottom. And in America, the bottom has always been disproportionately Black. During the 2008 financial crisis, Black unemployment peaked at 16.8%, nearly double the national average. Black household wealth dropped by 53% between 2005 and 2009. The median white household had 20 times the wealth of the median Black household by 2009. A huge portion of that wealth destruction came from the housing crisis, which hit Black homeowners hardest because they had been steered into predatory subprime loans at rates far higher than white borrowers with the same credit profiles. That's what happens when wars create economic shocks. The shock travels through the system and lands hardest on the people with the least cushion. And in America, that's Black people. Always has been. And here's the part that should make you angry.
If you're over 45.
Military recruitment in Black communities increases, not because Black people are more patriotic, because the economic conditions created by war, rising prices, fewer jobs, and shrinking opportunities push people into the military as a last resort. The military knows this. Recruitment offices are disproportionately concentrated in low-income neighborhoods. Recruiters target high schools in communities with the fewest college-bound students and the highest unemployment. They offer signing bonuses, made harder to access. Black Americans are overrepresented in the military relative to their share of the population. They are overrepresented in the enlisted ranks, the people on the front lines, while being underrepresented in the officer corps. The people giving the orders are disproportionately white. The people carrying them out are disproportionately Black and brown. So let me draw the line for you. America starts a war. That war creates an economic crisis at home. That crisis hits Black communities hardest. That hardship drives black men and women into the military. Then the military sends them to fight the very war that destroyed their economic prospects in the first place. It's a cycle. It is not an accident, it is a pipeline. From your neighborhood to the battlefield, funded by the very instability the war creates. So what is coming from the Iran war specifically? Let me be direct. If the Strait of Hormuz remains disrupted for weeks or months, oil prices could reach levels we have not seen since 2008, possibly higher. Gas prices nationally could push past $6 a gallon. In some cities, you could be looking at $7 or $8 a gallon. Oil prices will ripple through the economy. When that happens, food prices will follow. Rent pressures will increase as landlords pass energy costs to tenants. Small businesses in black neighborhoods, already operating on thin margins, will start closing. Hiring will freeze. Layoffs will begin in the sectors where black workers are most concentrated. If this escalates into a prolonged conflict, if American troops are deployed on the ground, if Iran continues retaliating, if oil supply is disrupted for months, we are looking at a potential recession. And we already know who gets hurt worst in a recession. Here is what makes this moment different from previous wars. Black America is already under economic pressure. The wealth gap has not closed. Median black household wealth is still a fraction of median white household wealth. Housing costs have been rising for years. Student loan burdens weigh disproportionately on black graduates. This war is not hitting a community with a cushion. It is hitting a community that was already on the edge. So, what can you do? First, understand what is happening. Do not let the news frame this as something happening over there. Every bomb that drops on Iran sends a ripple through the global economy that will reach your grocery store within weeks. Second, prepare. Lock in prices where you can. Reduce unnecessary spending. Build whatever financial cushion you are able to, even if it is small. Third, pay attention to who is profiting. Defense contractors, oil companies, financial firms that bet on volatility. Every war creates winners and losers, and the winners are never the people in your neighborhood. And fourth, remember this the next time someone tells you the war was necessary. Ask them who paid the price, because the answer is always the same. The news covers this war like it is a military story. Missiles, targets, casualties, strategic objectives. But for Black America, this is not a military story. It is the economic story. It is the story of how a conflict 7,000 miles away is about to make it harder for you to fill your tank, feed your kids, pay your rent, and keep your job. And the part that should keep you up at night, they know this. The people who make these decisions, the politicians, the defense contractors, the oil executives, they know exactly what happens to Black communities when wars drive up prices and crash economies. They have seen it every time. They have the data, they have the history, and they do it anyway. Because Black communities absorbing the economic shockwaves of American wars is not a bug in the system. It is the system. Now you know how it works. Do not let it work on you without you seeing it coming. If this opened your eyes, subscribe, share this with everyone, drop a comment and tell me, has the cost of gas or groceries already hit your household? The war just started and the bill hasn't even arrived yet. I'll see you in the next one.
I just got paid
All right, sisters and brothers. This gives you a good understanding or base of what is coming. In reality, that our people are overlooking or not paying attention to, that are being blocked and distracted by things that do not matter, by games, playing, TV, music, things that keep us from looking at and paying attention to what's taking place within reality, how and what is happening and how it's going to affect us as a people. Sisters and brothers, the unsealed scriptures keeps us in the know far in advance. Now, no one else is sharing with us the outcome. No one has been sharing with us what this war that we're witnessing now was coming. However, the messenger of the covenant, the unsealed scriptures of the Bible, has given detailed information to us of this war before the first bomb blew and throughout the duration of this conflict, this war, and has and is giving us the outcome of this war. Sisters and brothers, the scripture says America will be thrown out the Middle East. Britain will be thrown out the Middle East, out of heaven, and false Israel will be sieged and destroyed. The house of Sod the dragon will be thrown out of the Middle East as well, out of heaven. Sisters and brothers, we are days away from the next clash or strike by America, false Israel, that will trigger an epic response by Iran. Sisters and brothers, this war that we're witnessing is going to bring the reality that we're living in to an end. The effect of the outcome of this war is going to bring the reality that we're living in, this life, this world, to a screeching halt. Sisters and brothers, the effect from the outcome of this war is going to, we will, in the effect is going to affect the world, but how it's going to affect the original black man and woman, if you looked at, we're at the bottom. We're at the bottom of the totem pole. So the effect is going to be great on the people at the bottom. So we will feel the effect first. However, the effect is going to move so fast, sisters and brothers, that we need to at least get 30 days of food. At least have you some water. Sisters and brothers, whatever you can spare, prepare for what is coming. Now, the outcome is going to cause America to attack us all, to attack all blacks. This attack is going to take place because of who we are, sisters and brothers. Because of who false Israel is not. False Israel is sitting in Palestine, in the Middle East, claiming that they're God's chosen people. Sisters and brothers, this is why, the reason false Israel is about to be destroyed is because false Israel is lying and has stolen our identity and is an abomination that is causing desolation in heaven. False Israel is an abomination that does not belong in heaven. So, false Israel is about to be destroyed. First, to clear up the lie, the religious eschatology of them being God's chosen people. So that lie is about to be removed out the way, cleared out for everyone to see. Recognize this with your eyes. Recognize the truth. They no longer exist, meaning they were never God's chosen people. They were never the true seed of Abraham. This lie is about to be resolved, cleared. In America and Britain set up false Israel in this lie in the Middle East. And the House of Saud knows that it's a lie as well. Saudi Arabia is sitting in Arabia, sisters and brothers, in the promised land that the scriptures give details of, that God promised to Abram's seed. And Abram's seed, sisters and brothers, is the original black man and woman here in the hills of North America. Sisters and brothers, America is going to attack the original black man and woman here in America because our rise is their fall. America knows that America is being judged because of what they done to our nation. How the scripture gives a detailed message of how America will afflict God's chosen people for 400 years. That nation whom God's chosen people served. Now, sisters and brothers, the Abraham covenant is the base for what we're witnessing. The Abraham covenant shares with us our vision. Our vision as a people. Now, sisters and brothers, as long as you are visioning dying, as long as you are dying and going to this make-believe, this fairy tale place, in this fairy tale land, this fairy tale heaven, in wherever you dream it up, this dream world, and are not looking or understanding what's taking place in reality, if you're in a dream world, how are you're not going to be able to understand or add up what's taking place in reality. The script in reality, sisters and brothers, in reality, what is being shared with us? We are the true seed of Abraham. We are not looking to go to heaven somewhere in the sky. No, we're looking to go to heaven, a land on the planet, a place on the planet that belongs to you, that God has given us as a people. Now, sisters and brothers, all right, get this together, sisters and brothers. Abram's vision and the Abrahamic covenant. Sisters and brothers, let's move quickly through the reality that we have endured through and what our vision is and the reality of what our heaven will be. Sisters and brothers, this is the reality that our ancestors have endured through, and we, through our ancestors, have let me say, have a connect. Let me say it like this, because let's get right in. This is what our ancestors and we're all connected through them, and they're living that we're living and when the sun was going down. A deep sleep fell upon Abram, and lo, a horror of great darkness fell upon him. And he said unto Abram, know of a surety that thy seed shall be sojourners in a land that is not theirs, and shall serve them, and they shall afflict them 400 years, and also that nation whom they shall serve will I judge. And afterwards they shall come out with great substance. But thou shalt go to thy fathers in peace. Thou shalt be buried in a good old age. And in the fourth generation they shall come hither again, for the iniquities of the Amorites are not yet full. And it came to pass that when the sun went down and it was dark, behold, a smoking furnace and a flaming torch that passed between these pieces. Sisters and brothers, this is a detailed description, a detailed message of what Abraham's seed would endure through, would go through 400 years. Now, sisters and brothers, in reality, in real time, no one, don't allow no BS, these liars. In real time, in reality, we are the only people on the planet right now that can bear witness to every part of this vision that Abram vision. We are the people that have been taken to a strange land. We are sojourners in this strange. That means we're temporarily staying here. And has served this nation, enslaved by this nation, and afflicted. Afflicted meaning we have been tortured, you know what? Severely distressed. Sisters and brothers, we have been dehumanized, labeled as 3/5 of a human, treated less than an animal or like animals. That's less than that. We've been treated like animals, used like animals, beat, murdered, ate like animals, skin used like animals for fine leathers, bodies researched and cut open like animals, fed children, used for bait to hook other animals. Sisters and brothers, for 400 years we have been afflicted by America. 1619 to 2019 is 400 years. The official date of slavery. Now, anybody talking about, 1550? No. What the official date, the official year is the 1619. The 1619 project. Sisters and brothers, 1619 to 2019 was that or 400-year sojourn or 400-year time period of our affliction. Well, not don't because the affliction has not stopped. Sisters and brothers, people that are out to destroy you, people that want us dead, they're never going to stop afflicting us. Their system is built on afflicting us. Their system is built with dealing shrewdly with us to kill, to get rid of us. Sisters and brothers, 2020 came in with the plague. COVID-19 that killed the firstborn. In the scriptures, sisters and brothers, it states that I will send a plague that will kill the firstborn of Egypt. Sisters and brothers, false Israel celebrates the plague. They have a celebration called the Passover. That is a celebration of the children of Israel being passed over by this plague that will kill the firstborn of Egypt. Sisters and brothers, the original black man and woman here in America and all over the planet was not affected by COVID, what they call COVID-19. However, the Caucasian nations all over the planet was affected by the millions of the elderly, the firstborn. When we read that passage in the scripture, they say the firstborn, people think the firstborn are the elderly. They were born first. So, sisters and brothers, no one can claim that no one has the proof. The proof, and can prove it with easily. Each and every detail in this scripture fits the original black man and woman like a glove. Sisters and brothers, and that nation whom we serve will I judge. America is under judgment. That 400-year period has came to an end. America is under judgment as we speak, sisters and brothers. And we're coming out. We're the only place we're going to be able to be ourselves, to have heaven, is to be taken up out of this land of our affliction. To be separated from these devils, separated from our enemies in our own land. To produce heaven for ourselves. Sisters and brothers, in that fourth generation, that means in the fourth generation, in that 400, that generation, in that 400-year period, in that fourth generation, they will come hither again. Let us go back up, because we will be brought out with great substance. great wealth, gold, silver. That's what we'll come out of America with. Sisters and brothers, reality, facts that they want us to accept any damn thing to come out their mouths that it can't add up in no possible way. Sharing with us that thousands of years ago, all this happened thousands of years ago. Then they came all through the dark ages and everything, from Jesus to the dark, all this. And then in 1948, after thousands of years, during our 400 year, while we are living in this strange land, when Elijah Muhammad made a claim that we are the true seed of Abraham, that we are God's chosen, then, now they're considered God's chosen people. Sisters and brothers, we are the true seed of Abraham, and this is what the world is being affected by. 2020 brought this change to the world. Since 2020, the world has not been the same. America has been under judgment, and sisters and brothers, we are watching America be destroyed, being brought to its end. It is losing everything in your face. In the face of the world. Sisters and brothers, let's bring this to an end. This is the covenant from God to Abram's seed. Gave a detailed understanding of what Abram's seed would endure through. What our ancestors went through, and we are been brought here through them. And they are living through us. We are our ancestors. Sisters and brothers that have endured through this 400 year of affliction. Now, sisters and brothers, in that day God made a covenant with Abram, saying, unto thy seed have I given this land, from the river of Egypt unto the great river, the river Euphrates. That land is Arabia, sisters and brothers. It didn't say, I'll give you, let me say it like this. The land set you or us back in the land that is called heaven. That's a fact. The land where the house of Saudi Arabia, have their name on. Now, reality, this is reality. So you're not being taken, you dead and gotta die, and no, you've been taken. You're given the land from the river of Egypt to the great river, the river Euphrates. This is the promise. So, sisters and brothers, we are coming out of this land of our affliction. Yes, the chief demon and his student minister said we're not going anywhere. The chief demon says he's going to Can you let me he says he's going to reform the devil. He says he don't want to go nowhere. He loves America. Sisters and brothers, the chief demon is a direct seed. Louis Farrakhan is a direct seed of the synagogue of Satan. His parents, his grandparents, and his father are of Jewish descent. They are Portuguese Jews from Barbados. I can't say the name sometimes when I'm angry. They're false Jews. And he's a black-faced Jew that is sitting in heaven, sitting in the temple of God. He is a false Jew sitting in he's acting as if he's Abraham's seed, as if he's original. Sisters and brothers, This is what the nation, they're trying to keep us from, blocking us from understanding that this covenant belongs to us, of that this land that is full of riches, even those that are sitting on the land are blessed by the land. They've been made rich by claiming our land. Then you have those that have been made rich. False Israel have been made rich by claiming that they're the true seed of Abraham. And the scripture said those who bless Israel will be blessed, and those who curse Israel will be cursed. So false Israel has been making a claim, being blessed by the nations, impersonating us. They have stolen our identity. And America is being blessed. They have us under their foot. And so on. Because China was being blessed. India is being blessed off by America from keeping jobs away from us, sending them overseas. Sisters and brothers, this is the reality that we're living in. This is the reality that our enemy don't want to see. That the reality is us coming up out of this hell, out of this land of our affliction, and returning home to the land from the river of Egypt to the great river, the river Euphrates. They don't want to see us sitting in our own land, using our own minds. They don't want to see that. For one, they know that our rise is their fall. We are an existential threat to their reality. They know that everything they have, all the innovation, all the creativity has come from us. That's why they refuse to let us go. Sisters and brothers, the outcome. This war is going to cause an economic collapse. Sisters and brothers, it is coming in days. The next confrontation between Iran And America and false Israel is going to be what's the word for it? Life changing. It's going to change the lives of the nations of the world. It's going to pull the rug of this American dream off and under your feet, sisters and brothers. Off and under all our feet. Everyone's, this world as we know it is going to be brought to an end. It's going to produce famine, sisters and brothers, cannibalism, total chaos. However, sisters and brothers, there's a doorway out for us. The messenger of the covenant will suddenly appear in the messenger's temple. Sisters and brothers, before false Israel is destroyed, America will attack us all blacks. When America is thrown out the Middle East, they're going to attack all blacks because they know that they have to make this move before false Israel is destroyed. Why? At the beginning of this video presentation, we shared that false Israel is false and they're going to be destroyed first. For that lie to be exposed, for our eyes to be open, for us to recognize that we are the true seed of Abraham, and the lie that it is no longer there. And when that lie is no longer there, sisters and brothers, all that brain fog, all that delusion and that is been put in front of your eyes, everything, the American dream has been snatched off and under your feet, and the lies and deceptions that is keeping us caught up is snatched out of the way. It's going to cause us to understand immediately who we are. It's going to cause us to rise up, sisters and brothers, as a mighty nation overnight. A mighty army overnight. And we're going to flee. Sisters and brothers, we're going to flee to the messenger of the covenant. The Lord whom you're seeking, who will suddenly appear in the messenger's temple. Brothers, we must protect our woman, our children. Together, as they say, we stand as one nation, one body. Divided, we'll be just like we'll fall apart like we are. Sisters and brothers, this is the reality that we're dealing with. We're not, there's no going, so dealing with, you finna jump up into heaven in the cloud sky. So no, you're not. No, you're not. Reality. The world is about to change. This war will bring a change to the world as we know it. The war in heaven will bring a change to this reality. Sisters and brothers, I'm going to leave it right there. I'm going to greet you in the greeting words of peace. Assalamu alaikum.